CISG113, Section 1, Information Security and Privacy. Today is February the 9th, 2015, and we are already in week number 6. So week number 6 is the second week into the second learning contract. Well, if I remember correctly, I have invited you to let me know your team formations, including 2 pairs. When I check on the data collected, not many pairs had already given me the information, but I got 1 team which include 2 pairs. So what about the rest of you? So I would like to remind you that you have to find a teaming pairs, although given all the constraints that you currently encounter, I still could let you work out learning contract number 2 as a pair, but you have to make sure you got a team, right? Okay, the team, because remember, what I invite you to do at the end of the second learning contract, besides fulfilling the regular requirements of submitting the learning artifacts, the team need to work together to produce a digital story of a topic which is controlled by the 2 pairs. Okay, so, and that is going to be presented right here using a digital story. Okay, after we collect the learning artifacts from all of you from the second learning contract, and that's the purpose, because we need to prepare you for the third learning contract, which you have to and you must work in team. Okay, so I will give you time today, as I promised, to sort out the interactions as to which other pair your pair would like to work with as your team pair. Okay, so if you look at the topics of this week, we will repeat web attacks and intellect vulnerabilities, better say revisit them this week, and we will again come to ethical issues of hacking and cracking as compared to the topics that we got through last week, privacy and encryptions, and then web attacks and intellect vulnerabilities. Okay? Now, we would like to start today with a very interesting story that most of us might have gone through. Okay? And I would like you to pay attention to the stories here and check if you experience something similar in your daily living. Okay? So, let's go here. It's a very good story. We are talking about cybersecurity in the context of using your laptops, in the context of using your mobile devices. Okay? Well, for example,
the threat of a cyber attack. The Department of Homeland Security says they've seen 50,000 recent incursions or attempts. That's just on government computers. So what about your home computer or your laptop? As we put cybersecurity in focus this morning, our Ted Rollins takes a look at how easy it is for someone to hack right into your laptop.
Inside Terminal 5 at the Los Angeles International Airport, dozens of people are on their computers. Gregory Evans is a former hacker whose resume includes 2 years in federal prison.
We were doing almost $1 million, if not more, a week against some of the biggest corporations in the world.
We set up in a corner of the terminal so that Evans, who now owns a cybersecurity company, could show us just how vulnerable people are to hackers.
I will go and set up a fake Wi-Fi and watch everybody connect to it. And once they connect to it and they start surfing the internet, now what I'll do is just grab all their traffic.
We launched a fake network named LAX Free Wi-Fi. Within minutes, people started connecting to it. Evans then showed us how a hacker can record everything off a computer that joined our network by tracking what I was doing on my laptop.
So if they go to their bank, it'll grab all their banking information. If they go to their Facebook, it'll grab all that. Their Twitter accounts, if they're writing love letters, I can grab all of that.
Or, Evans says even worse, if a hacker has enough time, spyware can be installed, which stays with the victim.
You get on the plane, you go to one country, I go to another. But everything that you do, as long as you have that computer, is going to be emailed back to me.
During our experiment, we stumbled across what appeared to be a real hacker at work. Along with our fake network, there was another one called Free Public Wi-Fi. Airport administrators told us T-Mobile is the only authorized Wi-Fi provider.
So you think that there could be a hacker here right now?
That's correct.
Catching and prosecuting a hacker, especially at an airport, is extremely difficult. E.J. Hilbert is a retired FBI agent who specialized in cybercrime.
It's virtually impossible to catch them. Law enforcement's aware of this, and there's always the next piece. You steal the cards, you steal the information, you got to use them somewhere. And that's when you start getting the real investigations going.
Experts say there are a few things you can do to protect yourself. If you're at an airport or a public spot, find out who the Wi-Fi provider is and use that. If it costs some money, pay the money. They also say change your password every now and then and use different passwords for different accounts. Another tip, turn your computer off when you're not using it. And if you do go online using a public Wi-Fi, keep in mind that someone may be watching you.
You don't know if you're getting on a true Wi-Fi or you're connecting to some hacker's network. Like, you don't know if you're connecting to me or if you're really connecting to the airport.
Ted Rollins, CNN, Los Angeles.
Here we go. Just a couple of minutes. Very interesting discovery of what we are all liable to be hurt. We use our laptop or free Wi-Fi over there. Okay, now let's try to give you some minutes to rethink about some similar experience that you have gone through. For example, in Macau, could you recall where, beside the University of Macau, you can use your free Wi-Fi at ease? Which port in Macau have you ever experienced free Wi-Fi using your mobile devices? I remember, because of the goodwill of the Macau government, they have actually set up close to 100 free spots in Macau where you can actually use them. But how do you use them? Do you remember? Well, just grab a particular free Wi-Fi hosting site, or do you need to type in something, or whatever it is? Now, think a little bit more about this. I'm sure at least some of you will have your personal story to share. And then what are some of the advice you can give us to avoid being hacked? Well, definitely, if you go to see your mobile devices now, there's some kind of options setting you can do to select what to use, okay? And let's try to give you some time. You can discuss with your learning partner. We will spend 5 minutes here, okay? Let's go ahead, and we're going to have a number of stories to tell today. This is the story reported by CNN using the Los Angeles International Airport. What about the Macau International Airport? Have you ever used Macau International Airport? Have you ever used your free Wi-Fi there? And what about the Jet 4 terminal? Do they provide any free Wi-Fi? If so, what's the name of the free Wi-Fi site? Okay, the host person server. Think a little bit, discuss among yourself. Okay, do you have any bad experience? Someone get into your phone and give you a message like this. This morning I got a logo like this. I doubt if I have been hacked. Do you read the story? Do you understand the meaning of the story just given to you? In the past, we use plug and play. We plug the connections cable into some rooms provided in the airport, and we got free internet access. Today, because of the convenience of the mobility, they provide free Wi-Fi. So wherever you are in the airport, you can use the connections. But the point here is the hacker is also there, right? So have you ever experienced anything? That's good. That's still a very good experience. Okay. Lock up. Yes. It's from the. So where do you get into this page? From the Facebook privacy page?
The settings.
The settings, right?
The security.
Security.
And then the active sessions.
Mm-hmm.
You can find out what you need to do.
That needs the records.
Yes.
Okay. That's good. Thank you. We just got very good sharing by Angels on how you can check from your Facebook account using your mobile devices to see if anyone can actually hack into your page. Okay? But upon here, it's the phishing. The phishing for informations. If you get into the Wi-Fi system, when you use the Wi-Fi system, you can grab your data without your knowing, or maybe without any traces of the data lost on your part, because they duplicate the data. Your data there, and they use your data to do something else. It may not be on your Facebook. It could be anywhere, or maybe just grab your email account. Okay, in order to enhance your interpretations of the story, maybe we want another very interesting story from the Britain's point of view before we come into the discussions. This is the perspective from Britain.
Used to access.
Let's go.
In public Wi-Fi networks when you're away from home and want to go onto the internet, beware, there's a warning that hackers could get access to your sensitive information. Our technology correspondent Roy Catherine Jones is here and explained.
Well, Kate, my colleagues on the BBC Click, the technology programme, have been investigating the security of public Wi-Fi and found there are some real problems. One scam involves fraudsters effectively setting up their own hotspot, giving it a name that users will recognise, so they join it thinking it's legitimate. Another more sophisticated one involves the fraudsters effectively directing all traffic from a legitimate hotspot via their phones or computers, stripping out the security and so gaining access to everything you're doing wherever you are. And Europe's top cybercrime police officer has warned that we all need to look at this and check our behaviour.
Welcome to Click. I'm Spencer Kelly. Over the past few months, we've been investigating an internet crime which is almost invisible and which we've been told is on the rise. Now, you don't have to be a spy to pull it off. In fact, all you need is a mobile phone. The hack relies on our desire to always be online, and specifically those times when we want to hook up to a Wi-Fi hotspot. Now, hotspots are really easy to join. Of course, you just select one on your phone by tapping the screen. And conveniently, most phones will remember the hotspots that you trust and reconnect to them automatically the next time they're in range. But even the hotspots that you trust might not actually be safe. And that's because your device can be tricked into connecting to another network with an identical name, but one that's been set up by a criminal. It's called an evil twin attack. It certainly is evil twin. And while he's actually been around for a little while now, we've since discovered just how easy it is for him to swipe my information using just a mobile, which means your attacker could be standing right next to you. Dan Simmons reports.
The busy lives of the often spotted city dweller. These mammals are always on the go. Their social habits include fiddling with these peculiar devices. Thankfully, because they often use Wi-Fi, we can now see almost everything they do. In the park,
It's quite shocking, quite terrifying. You think, whatever I could have been looking at, someone could have found that stuff.
relaxing in the coffee shop,
I thought it would happen in some sort of high-tech van outside, but just to see it on a normal laptop here, it's just a bit unnerving.
and in the office.
You could add cards, remove cards, buy items, and any functionality within Amazon we could do pretending to be Carol.
City Slicker Martin's hopping onto a Wi-Fi hotspot, but it's one set up by Nosy Pete, our security expert who's curious to find out what these city folk do in their lunch hour.
Here he is searching and he finds the website for video.
We looked in on several other people's sessions and it wasn't difficult to see what they were up to, including their passwords and other personal data along the way. By simply naming his hotspot the same as the one that Martin's expecting to find, Pete can dupe him into believing he's on the real one.
But that's with a public, open Wi-Fi network hotspot. No username required or password. Throw those in and you'd think you'd be a bit more safe, wouldn't you?
An aptly named coffee shop in trendy Shoreditch, home to London's tech hub, and one where the owners set up a hotspot with a password that's written on the counter. And of course, Nosy Pete's up to his own tricks again, and can just as easily set up an identical Wi-Fi hotspot asking for the same password. This time, it's Lucy that's been caught in the trap.
We can see what flights you're planning to take. We know when you'd be away from home. We know when you'd be away from the office. And of course, we're at a business arrangement. Maybe we could predict what sort of meeting was going to take place. That might be important to the business too.
And it's not just websites. Nowadays, the apps we use seem to love automatically updating in the background. So it's now possible for our data to be hacked without our phone leaving our pocket. This photo sharing app is typical. It's sending out the user's email addresses, password, and phone contacts to ensure it's up to date. Pete's got the lot. But what he's not is very mobile himself. The evil twin Wi-Fi scam has been around for a while, but all that kit has made Pete's job, well, a bit tricky. But it turns out you can carry out the same attack with an ordinary mobile smartphone. This is Mobile Mike, and he's using his to spoof the local pub's Wi-Fi hotspot. With some software from the web, he's recording everything Caroline's doing. Charlie McMurdy headed up the UK's police effort against online crime until last year. She told me Wi-Fi providers should now carry out regular checks as snooping becomes easier.
Whereas previously we've really focused on the sort of standalone attacks and compromises of big databases, now a lot of mainstream criminals have identified there's easy opportunities and vulnerabilities just walking down the street and exploiting Wi-Fi networks that exist in every coffee shop, every premises that you go to.
Back at the cafe, Letty's checking her email, but this time our snoopers aren't so lucky. Thankfully, most email and retail sites are encrypted. It's slightly slower, but much safer. Encrypted sites show up with the letters HTTPS in the address bar. Your browser might also add a padlock to reassure you. If your session is encrypted this way, no one else should be able to snoop. But our security experts have found a way to bypass even that, using an app that can be simply downloaded to a mobile phone. Caroline is shopping. In this attack, Mike doesn't need to spoof a hotspot, he just needs to be on the same genuine Wi-Fi network. But the app he's got manages to tell his victim's handset to send all of its web requests to his own mobile. He'll then act as a man in the middle, again seeing everything, because he's now able to strip out the encryption Caroline's relying on. Many other encrypted websites would be just as vulnerable. It means that if you're using Wi-Fi with just a mobile, your attacker could be sitting right next to you.
Dan Simmons reporting. And just to reiterate that there was nothing intrinsically unsafe, insecure or unusual about the websites featured in that report. The hack happened because of the way that our phones recognise and connect over Wi-Fi networks.
Did you read the story from the British site? The train attack scam. Okay? So it's a very interesting story. And I hope with these two stories
entire cities in the UK are now white.
we can have a better understanding of the situations of concerns and try to give a little bit of your ideas. For example, with your hometown in China, have you ever used some free hotspots? Have you ever wondered if in using the hotspot, someone behind the scenes is going to strike on you or get the data? And how do you know? Now it's time for you to share ideas, and in a minute I'm going to pass the microphone to ask for your feedback. Do you have any experience doing that? I think you it's through Flori very well, because I can see that you almost synchronize the video on your screen with that. You must be an expert there. Okay. So can you share some ideas in a minute? Okay. We've just seen two typical examples of cybersecurity: hacking into the traffics we're using over the web, or over the mobile phones, or over the laptop, as if there is nothing happening. I'd love to find some more stories from the Chinese side, but unfortunately, so far, we've not been able to get some stories online. If you got some stories online, share with us. Okay, let's start with some typical sharing from your peers. Hello.
In mainland China,
Yes.
then maybe have some free Wi-Fi.
Right.
When I click in,
Yes.
it will ask me about email or telephone number.
That means they will ask you for some personal information first.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, and I will maybe I will enter my telephone number.
Okay.
When I
What if you enter, say, a number that is actually not yours? They will not check it, right?
Yes.
But
yeah. I will.
Yeah.
Oh, but I enter my real.
Oh, you
telephone
enter
number.
your real personal number.
Oh.
But I think it's not fair because free is free, right?
Right.
They should not ask for personal information before they let you use it.
Oh.
Right?
But because I want to use Wi-Fi to pay.
Oh,
So,
okay.
And when I back Macau,
Yes.
maybe we'll have some unknown telephone number will call me.
Call you immediately. Okay.
Yes.
So
I will not.
you will not entertain them, right? But say when you use the free Wi-Fi spot inside mainland China, normally are you using your mobile device, a phone, or a laptop computer? What do you use?
Phone.
A phone. Okay. So after using your phone, will you check? Do you have any software that you can check if someone has actually tampered with your phone?
I don't.
You don't know.
Yes.
Okay. It's all right. When you pass the microphone to Angel, maybe Angel could share a little bit of her experience to check. So what about your partner first? Do you have anything to share with us?
Yeah, I know the Macau government set
Right.
many free Wi-Fi spots
Right.
named Wi-Fi Go.
Okay.
And when you connect to it, it will tell you that it's not very secure.
They will tell you it's not very secure.
Yeah,
Okay.
but at most of the time, I will just ignore them and connect to the
Okay.
Wi-Fi.
May I ask you one question? Before you can use the Wi-Fi Go, do you need to provide your personal phone number or email address?
No.
No, right? So when you use the Wi-Fi Go, do you need to say use a guest account name or just connect?
Just connect.
Just connect. Okay. Then how do you know? For example, in the British story there, the hacker will set up another free spot with the same name, right? So you will hook into the Wi-Fi Go spot, but actually it's not the one provided by Macau government. It's provided by the hacker. And how do you know you have not got into a hacker site, right? Because the trick in Britain is hackers will set up the same hotspot where, for example, Macau, the Wi-Fi Goes will be set up, okay? And they will use the same name, even provide the same password for everybody to join, because in the coffee shop, don't ask me, just look at the password, right? So how do we know? So have you ever wondered? Okay, good, thank you. So let's try to pass the microphone, say, to Angel's group here. Hey, Angel, thank you. Could you share with us?
I want to say that if you want to check did your Facebook
All right.
hacked, you can go to settings.
All right.
And there's a security.
Yes.
And going to security and there's active sections, and you can see which places you have logged into your Facebook.
Okay.
And maybe I've not been hacked, but
Okay.
I think my friends have experienced being hacked. WeChat.
WeChat.
Yes,
Right.
she's being hacked, and how can we figure that out is if other people hacking our WeChat, or the WeChat in our phone will be automatically locked out.
Okay.
So we will find out that there's someone hacked into our WeChat.
Okay.
Yes, and I don't have anything to share.
Oh, all right. Thank you.
Sorry.
Thank you. Timmy, do you have anything to share with us? Yes. Yes.
I want to share one experience.
Okay.
About last month.
Yes.
When I play an online game,
Okay.
I log in B Fun.
Right.
And when I log in, he tell me that your account is logged in the different IP address.
Okay. That means, yeah.
But I only log in that in school
Okay.
Wi-Fi.
Okay.
Yes. And then, so I try to change the password.
Yes, yes.
After next day, when I log in again, he also tell me that my ID is different.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know.
So actually, your experience means somehow your identity in using the beefon game was used by someone else somewhere without your understanding. And when you want to use the beefon game or play the beefon game by logging into your account at school, that's the message is you already logged in somewhere else. But that is not you, right? So that is a very difficult situation. Have you changed your login ID from that time onward? Or try to cancel your account and create a new one?
I only create a new password.
Okay, yeah. Sometimes the most secure thing is not just the password, change the user ID. That means no one is going to use that user ID again. And with the user ID change, with the password change, then you know that basically two things, okay? That means you create yourself a new identity and you delete that account. If you cannot delete that account, that is a problem. Someone must be manipulating the account. The difficult things today is this. You actually brought up a very good situations. A lot of the time the hackers will steal some of our informations and then they will use the informations to broadcast something on our behalf. I do not know if you have ever experienced that. Maybe Angel could respond to. In the Facebook, sometimes we will have a profile, right? In the profile, sometimes we will indicate, normally they will ask us, where do you work, where are you born, and what's your birthday, something like that. Now, normally, only the owner could change the profile.
Yes.
Recently, I discovered that the work locations was changed by someone else. That means someone has actually hacked into to play something there. Now that is not very good. So maybe I could check also.
Yes.
Maybe each one of us learn how to check it.
If there's an IP address also, you can use the IP address and find a website to check where is the IP address.
Yes, yes, that's very important. And this is an example of sometimes because of loopholes in the computer, when our identity was stolen by someone else, bad things could happen on our behalf, and we never know. And that is a very lasting thing that we don't want to see happen. So make sure you check, all right? So can you pass the microphone to someone, maybe Horace, maybe Billy? And Billy? Hi, Billy.
Hi, morning. So I think the Wi-Fi is very dangerous for our usage.
Okay. It's convenient on one hand, but it's easy for us to be trapped. Yes.
But I think the Wi-Fi Go, I think, is comparatively safe with other Wi-Fi because the Wi-Fi Go is regulated by the government, and the government have something methods to protect this Wi-Fi.
Yes.
But in another Wi-Fi, especially something you connected in free, no password.
Okay.
It can be easily to seen by other people.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Can you pass the microphone, say to Yuman or Lancy? Hi, Lancy.
Hi.
We want to listen to your sharing.
From the video, I think Wi-Fi is so scary.
Scary. Okay.
I never saw this problem before. phone.
Okay, thank you.
Because I think Wi-Fi is very convenient and can save my money.
Okay. It's supposed to be like that, but because people with different intentions set up tricks that will make us feel uncomfortable, right? So, do you have any bad experience so far?
Sometimes I never think that some Wi-Fi which don't need your telephone number or personal information
Yes.
is not safe.
Okay.
But sometimes, such as for example in KFC, if you want to use each Wi-Fi, you have to provide your telephone number.
Macau KFC or
No,
mainland? Zhuhai, right?
Then
Why do you need to do that? Because they say you have to do it?
no. So I refuse it.
Oh, okay.
I don't use this
Okay.
Wi-Fi.
Do they have any reasons to ask people to provide a telephone number before they could use the free Wi-Fi?
No.
No? Okay. It's a kind
And
of...
I think maybe our security software can affect
Okay.
sometimes.
Yes. Thank you. Can you pass the microphone to, say, Anna and Sammy? Thank you, Sammy.
Hello. Actually, I seldom use public Wi-Fi.
Yes.
And I think if we have to use the public Wi-Fi, we better not to log in some accounts, some important accounts,
Right.
like our Facebook or some bank account
Yes.
or something like that. We'd better just do some normal research or some other network surfing instead of logging this account that maybe have some bad influence.
Okay.
Yes, and however, I think if it's not really need to use the public Wi-Fi, we'd better not.
Okay. Thank you. Hi, Anna.
Hello. I think the safest Wi-Fi is provided by airport. Is someone like which which will command you to verify, and when you put your mobile phone number, and it will give you one or password. Then I think it is very safe because it proves that it's provided not by hacker, but the government or someone else.
Okay, I think your suggestion is very good because at least everyone will get a one-time password from the recognized unit before they could use the Wi-Fi. But a lot of people think that it's not convenient enough because sometimes they have to use the email account to get the password and use the password to log in. So, but between security and convenience, there has to be a trade-off. And a lot of the time when a free Wi-Fi spot is provided because of the convenience, and a lot of people just take it at their own risk. Yes.
Then I think just as Sammy
Yes,
said
yes.
just now, you can use your own phone.
Yeah.
More safe.
You see that when my kids get onto my phone, they love to use WhatsApp to their mom and also to their cousins. And oftentimes they used to do WhatsApp at home because at home we have our own Wi-Fi. But when they are going to do the WhatsApp somewhere in an outside restaurant, some of the restaurant will provide free Wi-Fi. And my wife would just say, don't do it, otherwise we do not know if someone has get into your phone and leave the kind of malicious software so they can trace it. So the kind of what we call attitudes or the care we exercise on how to use this Wi-Fi system sometimes is very we determine whether or not we are being protected. But I thank you very much for your suggestion. It's a very interesting suggestion. Just like at the University of Macau, because we have to use our student ID and login password before we could use the free Wi-Fi here, right? Anybody outside the university, they could not do it. Even the school now will not provide guest account to access our secure LAN or wireless LAN. Secure one must be accessed through login ID and password. That is one way to ensure less trouble. Okay, so thank you very much for the excellent discussions, and I enjoy your feedback. Let's see if we could get into the next very interesting topic. Okay, and actually before we go on, I would like to recommend you to, if you have time at home, to go to the BBC Panorama. Over there, there is something called Wi-Fi dangers. Okay, Wi-Fi dangers. And when they talk about dangers here, it's talking about the physical harm that could happen to our body. Do you see that the convenience of using the mobile phone almost everywhere in town is supported by a lot of what we call the transmitter and responder set up in all those buildings around us? Okay? And it happens that it is discovered that it has not been verified that the problem with our cancerous cells, particularly the brain, has something to do with the transmissions and received from those transmitter nearby. And I do not know if you heard the story like this. A couple of youngsters living in town discovered that they often have headaches. Okay? And they couldn't go to sleep very well. And one very interesting experiment done by a high school kid, because of his hunches, is he used the kind of device which could measure the amount of current, you see the current because of the current with electricity, going through the walls of apartments, just like the apartment you and I live in, and it could measure different dosage of the current going through different corners of the room. And if we happen to sit in a desk or sleep on a bed in a directions which receive a lot of those currents, that means in a flow of the currents, that will have a direct impact to the healthy situations of the brain. And that is also one of the causes for many of the headaches. And once it was discovered that the little kid advised his cousins that I discovered the strong dose here. Now, listen to me. If you don't need to waste another thing, just shift the positions of your bed, okay? But do not sit here and sit somewhere else. And also make sure you open the windows and let all the air comes in. And all of a sudden, the little guy becomes a feng shui lo. You see what it means? Feng shui is the person who knows how to detect what's the best positions in a particular area to avoid different kind of. But feng shui is not based on strictly evidence. But the little kid uses device to measure the amount of curtains around and tell his cousin, trying to do that. And it's amazingly, after 1 week of moving his bed, he does not have the headache and he can sleep well. Now, that is one way that can have something to do with the currents. And what is meant by current other than the transmitter? The transmitter is something like the microwaves, the radio waves, which is invisible. And you know that the reasons why we can enjoy the use of the convenience of this phone is because if you look around, a lot of the transmitter are set up in the tall buildings there. And these would facilitate clear receptions of the signal. And the more they set up, the better the transmissions. But the more harmful it's going to do to our health when we live next to it. So these interesting documentary explore for us the situations in England about the different transmitter and responder and receiver of those mobile devices, and particularly those Wi-Fi devices. It has has direct impact into our health. That's very interesting. So, but strictly speaking, it does not concern us because here the topic here is attacks and internet vulnerabilities. But if we're concerned with our physical health, it's very good for you to watch that two very interesting episodes, just 30 minutes altogether. All right, and I think it's quite good. Definitely, here is another very interesting topic that I would like to share with you.
This list of potential vulnerabilities in web applications is actually pretty much covered throughout all of the videos in this series. Platform exploits being holes in the operating system, whether it's the server side, the client side, or both, or even considering the platform being an internet browser. So internet browser vulnerabilities certainly fall into the category of platform exploits. Inappropriate content access, parameter tampering, directory traversal. You're going to see actually all of these throughout this particular video and then other videos as well. What's important to remember is that there's simply a myriad of these application vulnerabilities that are potentially out there. It's important for us to check for as many of them as possible within the context of ensuring that we're bringing strength against weakness and we're looking for the stuff that's most likely going to be there and easily compromised. If, for example, you start looking at web applications or client-server communications and you find that there's really good rigor around testing code and validating code, that there's a really good code development and testing process that includes a security development lifecycle type of approach, you may not want to spend a ton of time looking at the code itself. You may actually want to look at other stuff because there's more than likely not a lot of vulnerabilities there. However, there may be unpatched servers, or there may be servers that are misconfigured or inconsistent. Those are the kinds of opportunities that you're looking for as an ethical hacker because they're the ones that are going to allow you to get a weakness in. For example, a web farm of 10 or 15 servers may have one server that's kept as a backup or is cycled in and out that actually is unpatched or at a different software level than the rest of them. It's identifying that server and then exploiting that one or identifying the potential weaknesses there that's really key, especially if you've already footprinted and done your recon and found out that the version of all of this software is high enough that you're not going to find any very obvious flaws. Misconfigured and unpatched servers are absolutely wonderful finds for an ethical hacker. When there's a server that doesn't have the right configuration, when there's a server that hasn't had a software update in a while or hasn't had critical patches that we know contain potential exploit patches, those are great things. We look for those immediately because we know we can compromise them. Believe it or not, there's actually a lot of enterprises that don't configure their web servers correctly, whether they are simply not managed by folks that are focused on web servers and web server security, or whether there's some inconsistency in the implementation and deployment, or some other potential flaw there. I actually find quite a few web servers that have one or more of these flaws. And I'll show you examples of several of these as we go through. Allowing the directory traversal, so finding other files and folders in different directories, enabling services that should not be enabled, not configuring the web server to start or run in a minimized context. You'd be surprised how many web servers actually do allow remote login or administration, either through Microsoft Terminal services or VNC connections or anything like that, even PC Anywhere. You see a lot of that out there, and it's just bizarre because you would think that that would be the one category of server that would not be exposed in that way. But you'd be wrong. They're more common than you'd imagine. Using the default username and password, installing the default website, taking the defaults without ever changing them is a recipe for disaster for administration. And finally, you've probably seen this yourself, displaying verbose logging to unauthenticated clients. I'll show you exactly what that looks like and why that's a problem.
Well, in this particular 4 minutes of explanations of the possible things that will happen to our computer, please remember to make the patches in your operating systems often enough. But there is one thing I cannot do to my system now. I'm still using a lot of XP in my computer. Have you ever used XP in your operating system? So you're often using Windows 7, right? Or Windows 8. For those of us who are still using our old PC running XP because Microsoft had already said we're no longer supporting it, and we cannot have any patches anymore, and many of the servers there configured are subject to hackers' attack. But for those of us who are using it, it's still working. When we're with, so we just do it in a low-profile way. Do not keep important information in. All right, now allow me to take attendance, and I'll give you the rest of the time today to talk among yourself to create your teams. Okay? For those of you who have not submitted your team formations detail, please read today's teacher's message and do it before the end of this Saturday. Okay, this is the third time I request for your information. All right? And for those of you who have already done the sharing, remember you need to put a records for sharing in a public discussion forum of the week in which you did the sharing. All right? So allow me to take attendance, and I'll give you some time to discuss among yourself to know your potential teammates. All right? Oh yes, after this week, Happy Chinese New Year. Okay? Angela, okay, right here. Jancy, she's not here. Horace, welcome back. Andy, thank you. Anna, thank you. Annie, thank you. Lily, thank you. Giles, thank you. Timmy, thank you. Wyson is not here today. Sammy, yes. Lindsay, yes. And then Sophie, thank you. Edward, thank you very much. Now feel free to approach your possible teammates with the pairs there and see if you're willing to work out a contract among the 2 pairs of yourself. Okay, so far I just got, if I remember correctly, and I checked it this morning, I got 1 team form so far. When I looked at the team number, week number 5, public discussion forum. So, not here. I think it's week number 4 in that case. Number 6. Yes. Oh, not even the example here. Okay, that it may be. Oh no, it's sorry. I remember correctly. Not in the public discussion forum. It's in the Dr. What's Killing Me hotline with number 5. Yeah. I just got myself. Yeah, it's right here. Sorry, I make your eyes a little bit uncomfortable by scrolling the 2 files. Right here, yeah. So I got Billy's themed form, right? I got this theme form. So 2 pairs is already in form. I'm looking for the combinations of the remaining 5 pairs, all right? So help yourself by giving me information like this, so that talk to your possible team members, okay? You need some time to interact with them. So which other pair would you like to select, all right? And also find some time this week before Thursday to read this week's teacher's message. It contains some advice, okay, on how best you can get the work done. Remember that. Okay, I'll do it on Thursday. Let's talk about it first, all right? Okay, that's it for today's CISG 113, Section 1, Information Security and Privacy. Today is day number 11 in week number 6. Until this first day, stay in tune.